Hello, welcome to another video location feature of Owen Law. This afternoon I'm at Dinas Emrys, which is just below Snowdon. Dinas Emrys is a hill fort that was reoccupied during the 5th century and which is featured in the prologue of Dragonline. It's where one of my main characters, Clue, gets his initiation. Now, what you're looking at here at the moment is the view from the top of Dinas Emrys, which is really quite magnificent on a fairly clear day like today. You can see some of the surrounding hills around Beddgelert and the Snowdon copper mine. I think it's probably just coming into view, and you can look further down and see towards the valley which leads up to the village of Beddgelert itself. If I go back towards my left, you can see the Lake of Dinas, which gets its name from here, from Dinas Emrys. And then go back over towards my left again, panning round to the left, you can see just about jutting out over the top there the peak of Snowdon. Now, I know in my previous video I thought that this peak here was probably Snowdon. I think I probably got it wrong, but not a problem. That was the peak itself there, which you just saw. And just below here, coming back to the Dinas Emrys itself, you see a tower which was built on the top, not from the 5th century but from later on, during the 12th, 13th century, the time of Llywelyn Fawr, who was one of the last princes of Wales. Built before the time when the last Prince of Wales himself, Llywelyn the Last, was killed by Edward I. So, if I just pan around here, you've got a little dip below and you've got a sort of grove of oak trees down there. Now, the reason why I'm including this location is because it's here that I set the prologue, where I have one of my main characters called Clue have his initiation into a secret society, for want of a better word. But there was another reason why I wanted to include Dinas Emrys in the book, and obviously having a location feature here today. That's because of the legend associated with it, which sort of ties in with the book a little bit. That's why I think it's important to have it as a location in Dragonline, especially as the title itself is called Dragonline. I'll explain the reason. Now, basically, the legend goes that King Vortigern, who was a sub-Roman ruler in the 5th century, he invited the Saxons in to defend Britain against other raiders, and they rebelled. And as a result of that, he escaped to the mountains of Wales and came here to build a location for himself, a fortress on this location, I should say. And perhaps while I'm explaining this story, I'll just focus on the tower, because that seems quite appropriate, and I'll just pan out a bit. But anyway, he tried to build a tower here, but he wasn't able to, because it kept falling down. And it kept falling down and kept falling down. So he consulted his soothsayers, and they couldn't explain why, but what they did tell him was that if he found a small child who didn't have a father, and sacrificed that small child and placed him in the foundations, then the tower should still stand up. So what he did is he sent his soldiers out across the breadth of the land to find a child without a father. While I'm still telling the story, just looking down the valley towards Beddgelert itself. Let me come back. We'll look at the tower again. So yes, he sent out his soldiers, and they found this child in a place called Carmarthen. And the reason they were able to find him was because he was playing a game with his friends, and somebody said during the game that he didn't have a father. Some sort of fly comment was made. The soldiers picked up on this, so they took him back to this place and to King Vortigern, and presented him to King Vortigern. And the child asked the king why he'd been brought here. So the king explained. And the child said, "Sire, your soothsayers are fools. That's not the reason why the tower won't stand up, because you haven't been able to sacrifice a child to go in the foundations. I can explain exactly why. You need to dig below, and you will find something interesting there. So the king did. And they found a reservoir. They opened up the reservoir, and inside were 2 worms, which then changed into 2 dragons, a red one and a white one. Immediately the 2 dragons began fighting, and the white dragon got the upper hand and subdued the red dragon. But then the red dragon regained its strength, fought back, and threw the white dragon right across the reservoir. The king asked the boy what this meant, and the boy said, "The white dragon is the dragon of the people that you've invited here, and who seek to displace us from our land, whereas the red dragon symbolises our people, the Welsh, the Britons, who will valiantly rise up and defeat the people of the white dragon, the Saxons, and regain what is rightfully theirs." And the king, it was said, was so impressed by this, he decided to leave and give this place to the boy. And the boy's name? Merlin Ambrosius, or in Welsh, Dinas Emrys. And so it is that Merlin was supposed to have taken possession of this place. Now it could be that the reality of it is that the name comes from Ambrosius Aurelianus, who was a sub-Roman leader who led the fight back. And there is even some who believe that Ambrosius and Merlin are one and the same. But it's certainly believed that this was reoccupied in the 5th century and used as a base to lead the fight back against the invading Saxons. In fact, they've even done some excavations, and I believe it might just be down here. I don't know if you can see into there, but they're believed to have been a reservoir which even may have well dated back to the 5th century, or certainly I think radiocarbon dating or something along those lines would have dated it back to that time. So for me, it's quite an appropriate place, certainly to set the prologue. And obviously as you read the book, you'll begin to understand why and what the significance is of this place, the reason for Clue's initiation, and exactly who the mysterious Clue really is. Anyway, thank you for listening. My name's Owen Law, and I'll see you in the next video.